911, what's your emergency?
Ask them to help us get a National Guard unit. Maybe with a helicopter to let's get hold of Granby Town Hall.
Confirm you need a National Guard unit and a helicopter.
Train's going up towards the highway. One back. Stop it. Or Army National Guard. Either that or
Hello, my name is Marvin Heemeyer. Today is April 13th, 2004. This tape is about my life since I come up here in 1991. I am making this tape. Really didn't think it'd make any difference if I did make it, but a good friend of mine said I should make it. He said I should sit down in front of a videotape machine and do it, but you're just going to have to take my word that this is Marvin Heemeyer, serial number 503-689-471. I want to say right now, God bless me in advance for the task that I am about to undertake.
Marv Heemeyer, he was from South Dakota, and he served in the Air Force. He realized that he had a knack for welding, working on engines and motors. He was stationed in Colorado and decided to stay in Colorado when he got out of the Air Force.
I moved up here in the fall in 1991 to kind of take a 6-month vacation. I decided that, I probably ought to buy some property up here to have something to do, so I looked at this 3 lots, the 2 little cabins that I'm living in here right now, and had a beautiful view, and the price was really cheap, so I bought them.
He worked at a muffler shop, moved up very quickly in the business. At some point, he just decided, heck, I can do this myself. And he went out and set up his own muffler shops. He was able to have income from businesses that he had started mostly in northern Denver and Boulder area.
If you got a champagne income with a beer taste, you're going to do well. And that's what I've always had. Always believed that's the way it should be. That's the only way I could get ahead.
I'm sure he counted pennies in every endeavor he ever undertook, and he wanted to run businesses well so that they succeeded, and I think he cared about his craft.
I knew of Marv Heemeyer because he ran a muffler shop in Granby. He did a lot of great work for people, ran that muffler shop for a lot of years. I even had work done at his shop. He had a reputation as being the best welder around.
We'd put this truck together, and the box was bouncing, and I took it down there, and I said, "Hey, Marv, what do you think?" And he said, "Oh, I can fix that." And he grabbed his welder, and it was done. Never broke, the guy was a hell of a welder.
He had a great reputation in the town. He was an outdoorsman. He loved his snowmobile. I didn't ever meet anybody who disliked him.
I call it successful. I think I was a very poor person most of my life. But for who I was and what I was, I think I was a very rich man. And I'm thankful to God for giving me that life.
I was there with a friend. He came in and he asked me out. I had not dated in 5 years. My marriage had split up, and but for some reason, I said yes, and we went out and started seeing each other for several years. He was old school to me. Society doesn't allow that anymore. He's a handshake's a handshake kind of guy to me. He was confident, and I thought he was handsome, and he was larger than life. I felt safe with him. It's kind of personal, but he was the first man that I was intimate with after my marriage. He was wonderful to me. He only met my children once, and he never had children, as you know. But we did quite a few road trips together, and never a dull moment.
Marv loved to snowmobile.
Oh, the Thursday group. Every Thursday, they take day off and go riding. Sometimes you have 4 guys, Sometimes you have 24 riders. Just a great bunch of guys to go out and ride with. Little Matty was the youngest.
When I started riding with Marv and the Thursday crew, I was 16 years old. And these guys were 40, 50. You know, I couldn't drink with them. I couldn't do any of that stuff. I had to go home to Mom and answer to Mom still. Marv was, in some respects, he took me under his wing. He helped teach me how to snowmobile, work on snowmobiles. He's always a mentor and always helped, always gave.
He was my best friend. I looked at him as my bigger brother. I let Marv lead unless it was someplace I knew better than him.
Okay, that's where we came from over there. This is right here where we're supposed to be, and that's where Stu went, way over there.
Marv made glove dryers. We had a Marv grill. Marv would take stock steel, bend it custom to every machine. You weren't a snowmobiler in Grand Lake unless you had a Marv bumper.
They would take down 4-inch trees, 5-inch trees, and you just keep going. That was a Marv bumper.
Yeah, he was the king, yeah.
If he got beat by anybody on the mountain, that was the last time he got beat by that person.
He bought me my own Polaris that, you know, taught me how to get off trail, and when in doubt, gas it.
It's a kind of a community that in order for you to get ahead, you have to keep the neighbor down. It's not, you know, build yourself up on your own merit. It's tear the other guy down.
Grand County definitely at one time was the wild, wild west. We've modernized a tremendous amount, but it is not uncommon at all in the wintertime to have 2 weeks straight where the temperature doesn't get above 10 degrees.
You have to be a little more independent, a little more willing to do without. You have to like small towns. You kind of live in a fishbowl to some extent because your neighbors kind of know your business a little more than they would be in the city.
That can cause conflict.
After a few months of living here, I happened to cross a piece of property down there in Granby. And this was about a month before they were going to have this FDIC auction.
Marv originally bought the property that he was on in a public auction.
They were selling FDIC foreclosed properties.
3,000 square foot building and had 2 acres of ground. They had a bid for $35,000 from some guy up in front. So finally they caught my bid, so I got a bid for 40. And this other guy jumped up on his chair. I've come to find out his name was Cody Dochev.
Cody Dochev is the owner of Mountain Park Concrete. The Dochevs were looking for land upon which to put this concrete operation with an indoor batch plant. Dochev also showed up with Gus Harris.
Gus Harris was his buddy there sitting beside him. Gus was sponsoring the whole financing on this thing, and Gus wasn't going to pay more than 50 grand for it. And I was waiting for him to bid, and he wouldn't bid. So I got the property.
Marv says that after he got the property, he was accosted by Cody.
This guy came back there and introduced himself to me about the rudest, most arrogant person. I mean, this guy's just a fucking asshole. Come back and just introduced himself by giving me a tongue lashing for about 10 minutes. I mean, this is the only guy of all the properties that sold before his that was doing any screaming at anybody during the auction.
We're in God's country. Why live anywhere else? But I don't like the way the county's run. There's a good old boys club.
When he bought the property, it had nothing more than just a concrete mixer tank that was holding the sewage.
In the summer of '92, they wanted me to be annexed into the Water and Sanitation District. So I said, great,